Okay, we showed you that with the mixing. That was kind of cool. We had the subgroups going on, and we made this auxiliary track for the drums, which is right here, and we did one for the drum verb. Another thing you do sometimes when you have these auxiliaries going on is that you'll notice here that I have each one of these tracks that we have here in this group, the drum, the fat snare here, and we have also here we've got this hi-hat. The outputs are going to the master. See, the output. And we also have these sends. So we have a send here, which splits the signal up, sends that signal into the drum mix, and one sends to the drum verb. So you have two different sounds going on here, of course, almost three. So sometimes what I like to do is I like to send this sound here, for example, and bust it directly to the drum mix. And why bother sending it back out through the drum mix send? I'll just bust it straight there. And I can eliminate this mix right here. Get rid of this send here, get rid of this send here, get rid of the send that's right there also. And now these tracks are going directly into this mix right here, which is the drum mix. Now you notice they're locked together now, since they're all in one big mix group, right? I can go down, I go higher up, and they maintain that same level. Now sometimes you want that, sometimes you really don't. I do that when I have them separately going to the master. In this case, I may not want that. So we'll go back to here. We can go to our groups again and modify the group. And I go here, pick the group I want to modify. We go to drums. And this is my drum mix group. And what I want to do here right now is probably take this group here and remove it. That one thing, the drum mix, from that group. I'll press OK. And now you'll notice it's worked out right. Just that moves by itself. But these remain as a group. Okay. Now I want to solve them actually. Solve this and solve this. Now press stop. And so all you hear is the kick and the hi-hat. Now I'm going to add the snare to it. See, I was in the wrong group. Be aware what you're doing. Now the snare drum will be there. Now watch this. I pull it down, we don't hear it anymore. Because what happened here, we took the output of these tracks and sent them directly into the auxiliary track here. So this controls the audio level of the kick, the snare, and the hi-hat. And the output of this track goes to our master, which is right here. Got that? So here, the mix goes to the master. And our drum tracks right here, these tracks go to the mix group. And next I have here, I've got the reverb set up already, right? So I can press the reverb. So I got more verb, more drums. Less drum, less verb. Bring the verb down. So we have just two tracks controlling the drums and the verb. And this mix track has the compression on it. Notice that too as well. And remember, these are also stereo outputs. You know, before we do have them as stereo, which is that bus group 3 and 4, which is turned into the drum verb. And that way you can have these two tracks control the drum mix. We've got one track here with the drums mixed together with the compressor, another track with just the reverb. Now, I can also adjust that mix. Because I have the levels I want here, right? Then I want to hear it all together. Now, what I have going on also here is a guitar. The part this mix starts off at. I've got this guitar part going on, which starts right about here. And let's go back to the side of this. Now here in the guitar part, you'll see also, same as earlier, we have the lead guitar here. We've got this guitar going to a mix. See the group here, we have this guitar group here, and they're going to the guitar mix here. Now go back to our I.O. setup, and you'll see that the I.O. is set up for the guitar, which is right here, which would have been 13, 14. It's actually guitar delay. And it's just a separate stereo. No mono paths built in there at all. Okay, so we see that. The output of those tracks are still going to the master, and the input here says delay. But in reality, this here is setting a send to the delay, which is right here for the guitar effects. So the delay is still going on, still in the background here also as well. So remember, this is the other effects section I've gone on. You can see all the actual auxiliary tracks. They have these arrows on them that go down. See it right there? And there are two more here and one more here. So you got to make sure what type of track you have. You can check over your mixes. And of course, this track here is our summing amp for our master. Now sometimes I'm doing a mix also. I may want to change the path. So I go back to I/O setup right here. And I've got this drum mix going like this here, and it's stereo. I can make a new path. See? I don't want that. Let's delete that path. Let's click right here. I may want to make a new subpath. Ooh, not bad. A new subpath. No, not there. Delete that one. We want to make it right here. There we go. Now this subpath could be, this could be a mono, and that could be a mono. See that? Now, it says drum mix. I can go back in here and make a drum mix 1-2. Look at that. Now, I've got a separate mono of each one of those. This is I/O. It's important to understand your I/O setup, your input-output setup. The paths in a recording session can be like a big, huge highway. You got to know where things are going no matter what when you're in a session. Your brain must be inside the mix always. No matter what you're doing, either putting a little vocal down or doing a huge mix. Remember this. See that right there? I made a new path. So I'm going to go back here. I'll press OK. My new path set up here now. And now I'll take this mix here I've got going on. Of course, it's stereo again. And what I could do here is use this here and change the bus. I want to make this just left, let's say. I can make this other one here just left or right. See that? And left there. I can create another auxiliary track, let's say, and I may not want this track here. Oh, listen to it in my I may not even want that track. I'll say, well, let's get rid of this one. And we'll delete that track out. And we'll get a new one. And we'll make a new track right here. And we'll call this one, we'll make an auxiliary track. Let's click an auxiliary mono track. I'll put it right there. Its input will be the left. Now, the mono track here, sometimes I do this, sometimes you want to save some plug-in power. And you're like, oh, I ain't got enough power, man. What am I going to do? Oh, my God. So I'll go back as a reverb here, and I'll pull up a reverb. Here we go. We got a deverb right here. And this is kind of cool. We'll pull it up here. And then we'll play the mix. We'll go back to the same spot right before, actually. Let's go back to the mix window. And we want to go to here. See that? And that's just a simple verb. I made it into a mono track. We changed the output grouping. I can bring down the snare drum a little bit here. And I'll play my mix again. I'll bring this down. See, I'll bring this right down. And that's just a stereo. That's a simple stereo. I didn't make any special reverb track for that. That reverb plugin and use a special effect for it, but you get the idea. We can turn that simple I/O setup we had earlier, which is stereo, and make it into mono, and send a mono signal maybe into a stereo track. I can get rid of this one. Delete that. Make a new one again. Get a new track in there. I'm going to make it stereo, auxiliary, create it, make its input drum verb right there. It'll be stereo. Put some sort of effect on this track. Let's go back to reverb again, and we'll use a different one this time. A slight spring verb. This is good enough to use. We'll pull spring verb up here just for the effect here, and we'll play it again. See if things going in there, right? So what I'm going to do is make sure that these are going into the verb. These are stereo now. See that? So there are many ways to get around in a mixer, and you've got to understand what you're doing and know where all your I/O setups are, your input outputs. This is a huge highway. The more you keep adding to it, the more you need to know what you're doing and what's going to happen when you do add more to the mix. It's important. And you will eat up a lot of power, particularly on your Mac or your PC. So it's good to know whether you want to use a stereo plug-in into a mono track to cut down the power usage and get the proper effect. And this is important. All right? Cool.